Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. Today, we're jumping right into an explainer on engineering a defensible smart wallet overview. If you've been following along with our Introduction to Smart Wallets course, you know we've already survived that messy, caffeine-fueled drafting phase. You've mapped out account abstraction, you've explored key management, and you've got all the raw materials. Now, it's time to take all that brilliant, chaotic theory and actually assemble the pieces into a rock-solid professional blueprint.
But first, let's just acknowledge a painful, universal truth of technical writing. Opinion without evidence is literally just a beautifully formatted guess. You know the feeling, right? It's incredibly tempting to open a blank document and just let your gut feelings spill out onto the page. But that is exactly how you end up with chaos. You get a document that sounds smart on a quick read, but completely crumbles under any real scrutiny. So, the methodology we're looking at today is the ultimate antidote to that chaos. We're going to ensure your final overview is grounded entirely in verifiable facts rather than just whatever sounded good at 2 in the morning.
Here's our master blueprint for today's explainer. We'll be moving through 1. The foundation, 2. The scaffolding, 3. The specs, 4. Load-bearing pillars, and 5. Final inspection.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the foundation, and bringing in the raw materials.
You don't build a house by fabricating bricks on the spot. You bring your raw materials to the site long before you pour a single drop of concrete. And that's what we're doing here. We are taking the hard work from your previous lessons, specifically those component inventories you put together in the Mapping Theory to Smart Wallet Components module, along with your functional role descriptions and your conceptual framing. We're taking all of that and we are transforming it into 2 very specific outputs. We're building an annotated outline and a comparison table. The huge takeaway here is that you aren't starting from scratch. You're strategically repurposing the foundational blocks you've already painstakingly created to build something way more advanced.
Moving right along to Section 2, the scaffolding, which means creating our annotated outline.
Think of the annotated outline as the absolute skeleton of your final document. At a bare minimum, every single smart wallet overview requires these 3 structural pillars just to hold up the roof: architecture, advantages, and future potential. Honestly, it helps to think of these as the main floors of your building. The architecture floor, that explains the physics of how things work under the hood. The advantages floor is basically your sales pitch, clearly explaining why this even matters to a user. And the future potential floor outlines your long-term vision. If you miss even one of these floors, your reader is left with an incomplete, funny-looking structure that completely fails to capture the real landscape of account abstraction.
Now, we need to be clear about what an annotation actually is. An annotation isn't just a lazy summary, not at all. It is a highly specific micro blueprint. When you write that tight 100 to 300 word block under each heading, you have a very specific job to do. You have to state the section's overall purpose, you need to outline 2 to 4 core claims, and then, and this is absolutely crucial, you have to explicitly link those claims back to the components you've already inventoried. So if you're talking about transaction security, you need to deliberately point back to your policy engine or your key manager. This entire exercise forces you to figure out exactly what goes where long before you spend hours agonizing over your actual prose.
So you might be asking a very logical question right about now. How do we actually know which section is the most critical to build first? Because, let's face it, it is incredibly easy to just start writing whatever happens to be top of mind. But how do we scientifically prioritize our emphasis? How do we definitively decide for sure if the architecture section deserves more page space and attention than future potential?
And that brings us to Section 3, the specs, where we build out our comparison table.
This right here is where the magic happens. This is where we turn subjective, messy feelings into objective, structured data. By mapping specific criteria like security impact, user experience impact, and composability against those 3 main sections we talked about, you create a totally defensible rationale for your editorial choices. Just look at how architecture requires a high security emphasis. Why? Because that's literally where the smart contract logic lives. Meanwhile, future potential might have a low immediate UX impact simply because those features haven't even been built for the end user yet. You see what we're doing? You aren't guessing anymore. You are assigning priority levels backed by solid logic, which tells you exactly where to focus your engineering and your writing efforts.
Which leads us to Section 4, load-bearing pillars, focusing on evidence and traceability. As we've established, without solid support, your document just collapses under the slightest breeze. You can't just casually claim that account abstraction patterns reduce front-end complexity. You have to empirically prove it. Every single major claim must be supported by an inline citation. We're talking about peer-reviewed academic papers, rigorous Ethereum improvement proposals like EIPs, actual empirical measurements, or highly authoritative technical white papers. Summarizing the core evidence from these specific sources in 40 to 100 words is the exact alchemy that converts your personal opinion into a verifiable, industry-standard fact.
Now, this entire process builds a vital concept that we call traceability. It's basically an airtight paper trail proving that you didn't just invent these ideas out of thin air while in the shower. The flow is brilliantly simple. Step 1, you make a claim. Step 2, you cite your hard evidence. For instance, you pull directly from EIP 4337 to explain mechanism design. Then, step 3, you explicitly link it back to a prior component, like that relayer integration entry you mapped out last week. The result? A beautiful, unbroken chain of logic that absolutely any reviewer, auditor, or fellow developer can easily follow from start to finish.
Almost there. Section 5, Final Inspection, where we verify the artifact. Think about it. You would never sign off on an actual architectural blueprint without double-checking the math, right? So before we export this structure for our final capstone assembly, you absolutely have to run through this critical self-test. First up, you need structural completeness. That means checking that all 3 mandatory sections are present with their proper annotations. Second, you need evidence linkage, ensuring every single major claim actually has an inline citation attached to it. And finally, you need complete traceability, guaranteeing that every single rationale and annotation points right back to an earlier artifact. Skip this inspection, and your document is just a house of cards waiting to fall over. So as you wrap up your final deliverable, I want you to ask yourself one absolutely critical question. If your document was put on trial today, would your traceability hold up in court? Could a colleague who only saw your original component inventory follow your logic and understand exactly why a specific section exists? Keep that extremely high standard in mind as you work. Well, that covers it for today. Head over to forge.college to explore more Web3 concepts and learn how to engineer technical documents that are absolutely bulletproof. Keep building, and I will catch you in the next explainer.